YouTube, it's Faye, and for today's video, I'm really excited to introduce you to another build that I've been sort of working on slowly behind the scenes, but is really about to come to life on my YouTube channel, and also on TV. But okay, more of that will come, so definitely want to stay tuned and watch all of this video because we're about to explain. So, all right, without further ado, let's catch you up on where we started. This is a base model Toyota Tacoma pre-runner, meaning two-wheel drive, access cab, long bed in Timberland mica. Brandon bought it from a Ford dealership back in 2017 and it had about 120,000 miles on it. This is definitely your basic truck. It's got some dents, some sun-damaged paint, a worn-out interior, but it's been incredibly reliable, needing only basic maintenance over the years. And speaking of basic maintenance, if you are a veteran subscriber to my YouTube channel, then you've likely seen this truck in many of my DIY tutorials, including the most popular video on my channel with almost 1 million views at this point, how to change a transmission fluid on a dipstickless transmission. So pretty much up until this point, the only upgrades we've done is adding a nice head unit and front speakers, adding cruise control, and adding fog lights. So 5 years and 60,000 miles of adventures later, and Brandon makes his last payment on the truck. It is officially his. Now without those monthly payments, well, that frees up some cash. And speaking of Brandon, I'm lucky enough to have his help on this YouTube video. So, hey Brandon.
Hi YouTube.
Hi YouTube, it's Brandon. You gotta do these too, don't you know?
Hi YouTube, it's Brandon.
Oh, excellent. See, he already knows. He already knows what's going on. It's almost like you subscribe and watch my YouTube channel, darling.
I do.
Well, thank you. All right, so you officially own the truck. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna do what most people do and like obviously trade it in and get a Gen 3 Tacoma, right?
Nope. I'm gonna keep my truck and I'm gonna use my extra money to build it into something better than just a truck. I want it to be an adventure vehicle for us to get out into nature with. We typically go primitive backpacking.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like our favorite thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I want something that's gonna be similar but totally different. And so I think we can actually take longer trips and go deeper into the backcountry and bring along more creature comforts that we typically wouldn't have if we're carrying everything on our back into the hot sun.
And actually, that's a really good point. Let me interject a little bit of information here. So a lot of people think that we met because of cars. Well, I guess we technically did meet because of cars, and more specifically because of Toyotas.
Previously.
We really bonded over our love of backpacking and being in the outdoors. And we really started that adventure like out in the Pacific Northwest, where you can go anywhere for days because water is everywhere. So you can bring along this little filter that weighs nothing, and dehydrated food, you just add water to. And we used to go for like days and days and days and days. Here in Texas, especially in the desert where we love to do a lot of our adventures now, we are limited by how much water we can carry. There's no water out there. So we've got to carry, and it's heavy.
Water's very heavy.
Water's very heavy, and I tend to sort of like slow us down with how much I can carry, and that really limits how long we're actually able to go out and adventure. So having something that can carry water for us, extend those trips, and also get us out to some of those more remote locations. Some of those roads are high clearance vehicles only, and then there's even more remote trails we can hit out there.
Prior to this build, my suspension is totally blown. It sucks. I have like a lowered truck essentially. So getting it back up off the ground and getting us better traction is going to get us out to places we never could have gotten to safely.
Right, exactly.
I would have done it.
But then once again though, once we get out to those places safely, we're limited by how much water this one can carry. So
not only will we need water storage, but we'll need fuel storage. We'll need a way to cook food that's not just your typical backpacking add water meals that we typically carry, you know, freeze dried. I mean, they're good, but they're okay. That's part of the differentiation here is that we can actually do real cooking and make real food. So we're gonna bring a stove and we need fuel for that. We need a place to keep that food cool, because if you just bring some food on the desert, it's all gonna spoil within about 30 minutes. Yeah. So we need a place to keep that food cool and ready for us, and almost more importantly, beverages need to be cold.
I want to say that's the most important thing.
What's one thing we've never been able to bring backpacking, well, reasonably, is
ice.
Cold beverages.
Oh.
Can't just bring a bunch of beers. Typically, we're relying on a flask of whiskey that we make last as long as possible. Now we can just sit and crack beers, chuck them behind us. Well, we'll clean them up. But we got plenty of capacity for ice cold beverages.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna make the experience so good.
And we need a place to hide out from the sun.
Yes, you can't see that yet.
And you can't see that yet. But the shade that we are currently experiencing is from the awning.
Yes, yes. So
something I would never carry on my back.
Yeah, there's no trees, there's no shade. Y'all can't see this, but the sun is beating down on us right now, so we have the awning deployed so we can film this video. So it's working out great. So as you can tell, we are coming to you from the future describing the past. So let's hop back a little bit, because a build like this would get super overwhelming for someone like me that gets really overwhelmed by options, by like all the different products that are involved. And if you start researching other people's overlanding builds, there are so many different types out there. They're all so different, different styles, different designs, where they put everything is different. Even if you look up second generation Toyota Tacoma overlanding builds, like you'll see 100 different builds to suit 100 different people and their personalities. So how did you go about starting this build, designing it, and yeah, sort of walk us through the process?
Well, number one, I drew a lot of inspiration from everybody else's custom builds, because everybody had so much creativity and what a bunch of cool ideas out there. I knew that I was going to be limited on space. So I started out building the bed of my truck in CAD, and then from there, I was able to start inserting components and figuring out what I could fit. And that definitely changed what I went with. So my original ideas of like what kind of water storage I was going to get had to all go out the window when I started realizing exactly what I could fit into there to utilize the space as well as possible.
So literally in CAD, you took the dimensions of your truck, built the exact replica of the bed, like to scale, and then as you're picking out these products, getting the dimensions of them and actually building them inside of this 3D model before actually saying, all right, I'm gonna go buy this like $500 fridge or whatever. I don't really know the cost of all this stuff, but like, you know, but before you went out and purchased those things, you put them in the model first.
And then I was confident that they would fit, and I pulled the trigger.
And so you had mentioned, maybe I had mentioned, that one of the most important things we wanted to bring with us was the fridge.
The two things are the water storage in the fridge, I believe, and the fuel tank is heavy as well. So the water tank I had installed as low and forward as possible. The fuel tank is right next to it up in the other corner, and I wanted the fridge actually to be low and right up against those items. In a lot of other builds, I noticed that people have that fridge very high on top of a bunch of gear, and it's all the way at the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And I already have a rooftop tent that's going to be up there causing a lot of weight imbalance. So I want to keep everything else out of that equation.
Right, wait, so you mean you don't want to overload the rear, so you're taking all that weight off the front suspension and making it almost impossible to steer under a load? Why would you want to do that? No,
I don't know.
Yeah, good weight distribution, good planning. That's something that's really important at the beginning stages of a build. This is obviously a very well thought out build, and in our relationship, Brandon is definitely the more thorough, methodical, planny one, whereas I'm a little bit more spontaneous and chaotic, so it's a good balance. But as the weeks went on, the build concept evolved into the coolest truck design I had ever seen. And the parts kept on rolling in, and then suddenly it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, we have to pitch this to All Girls Garage. Like, we have to tell my producer about this, because this would make the coolest episode ever. And also, like, I've been on the show for 4 years. You've never been out there. You've never met my coworkers. You've never seen the shop. And this is something that I feel like so many people can relate to. Like, we start out with a super basic truck that anyone could go out and buy, and we're gonna turn it into the adventure vehicle of our dreams. Like, how many people will want to see that being built? So what do we have to lose, right? I actually had pretty low expectations. I didn't think it would get picked up. You know, we do mostly sort of older, classic American car stuff on the show. We've never done a build like this at all. But to my surprise, my producer was like, okay, sounds great. And we're like, what? And we sort of freaked out about it for a while. Some months went by. And then suddenly, it was like 2 months until we had to leave. Like, we had to drive this thing to Tampa. We're in Texas. It's a, what, 1,300 mile drive, something like that. Suddenly it hit us, and we're like, oh my God, wait a second. The truck, this isn't just going to be my teeny little YouTube channel. Like, the truck is going to be on national, international TV. And it kind of looks like crap a little bit.
It looks like crap. The paint is terrible.
It was. So thankfully we have a mutual friend that is, you know, owns an auto body shop down the street, is a professional painter, is really good. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go down, ask Rick what we can do. Maybe we can like cut and buff the paint, something like that. Maybe there's some polishing compound that can take away that haziness. Let's just ask him. Even though we have like zero time, we got to do something to make it look a little bit better. So we did.
Really pressed for time and everything, but why don't we just paint the damn thing? We'll put the the roof back to the way it should be. Is the hood screwed up too?
It's got some paint chips.
Yeah, see the top surface is what gets all the UV abuse.
Yeah, it took some rock chips up here too.
If we, the consumer, would put some paste wax on there, turtle wax, whatever, something with a good UV protection, once a year, twice a year, these things would never do this.
Not the stuff that comes out of the car wash?
Yeah, you don't push button number 3. Deluxe or Supreme or whatever the hell.
It's a sucker's bet.
Sucker's bet, man, yeah. So that's something to think about going forward. The stuff that we use right here, you know, it's never going to happen anyways, but you should do your part anyways.
So it sounds like you should probably paint it.
I should probably paint it.
Yeah, well, if somebody could devote a little bit of labor to helping out, that would help me out, because I don't mind doing it.
I can donate labor all day.
Well, then there you go. Then it's a done deal. Prepped, a couple of coats of base on it, a couple of coats of clear, bada bing, bada boom, done.
Okay, now that the truck looks pretty again, it's time to get back to work.
Guide system for the kitchen. Slide all the way out.
Oh.
Nothing's in it right now, of course.
Yep.
But when it's in, it's not only going to attach to this, which is then going to become like a bed rail stiffener, but it's going to attach up here also. Everything's meant to be able to come out, but I just
Oh my God, you cut out that piece.
Yep.
That was not a piece you bought. You cut a strip.
Yeah.
All these are strips you cut.
All these are. So there's grooves underneath here.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to drill holes through this part and then weld like a nut underneath so that a bolt can just go down through this guy, which will be attached to this whole system. Set it into place and be screwed down. And I'm going to make tabs that will attach these to this guy.
Hold on just a minute. I'm so sorry, but I have to interrupt this video for a brief moment to let you know that this video has a sponsor. That's right. Oh. Thanks so much to Hunter Industrial Fan for sponsoring this video. And if you have noticed in the footage just then, when Brandon was talking, there was a lot of background noise. And there's actually been a lot of background noise in most of this video. And that is because, unfortunately for my audio, we have been doing this build in the heat of the Texas summer. And this is an abnormally warm Texas summer. I don't know what's up with this heat wave right now, but so much of this build could not have happened without our Jan fans running on full strength in the background of these videos. So we figured we are not the only ones plagued with this issue. So we are going to be giving away, thanks to Hunter Industrial Fan, 4 of these 12-inch Jan fans to 4 of you. So here's what you have to do to enter. You do not have to share a million posts, tag a bunch of friends, I don't know, use hashtags or whatever. All you have to do is click the link below in the description of this video and just send us a picture of the project that you're working on. Is it in your driveway where there's no cover, no shade? Is it in your hot metal building garage that's equally warm, maybe even hotter than it is outside? And then screenshot the temperature you're dealing with right now and just submit the photos. And that's it. Now, the contest will go on until August 27th at midnight. And August 27th, if you're unfamiliar with that date, is a little special because that's when Brandon's episode airs. That's when you can see this Tacoma being built on All Girls Garage, and I'm going to let you know about that a few more times, also with some information in the description of this video. So go ahead, send us your pictures, enter it in, and good luck because you'll need one of these. All right, back to the video.
Making a bracket to mount this to stabilize it and support it. There's going to be a lot of weight on here, so this thing slides out. There's going to be a bracket right here. I'm going to weld that to the guide and then run a nut down through here so that I can just slide this in and attach it and take it all apart. And then that'll mount right to the bed rail stiffeners. Everything will be basically separatable and removable. So the truck can go back to just being a pickup truck. And everything can be released and slid out and removed from the vehicle without any kind of drilling into the actual truck bed, and everything's attached to the bed rails. So it should be very strong. And then I'm going to mount the tray for the refrigerator here as low as possible, and then start building the rest of the kitchen. And I have a stove top and a sink, and that's all going to pull out as well. But yeah, making progress. Find a good spot for that battery.
Did you charge this on solar too?
Yeah. And it's going to get charged on solar in the truck too. I think I'm planning on having like 350 watts of solar. I need more batteries.
The solar panels are currently running the fridge.
And more importantly, keeping my beers cold.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you join us next week for the next installment, part 2 of Brandon's Tacoma Overland build series. You absolutely do not want to miss this. In our next episode, Brandon picks out the perfect canopy and we assemble it. He continues with the kitchen build, and I wire in the auxiliary battery, a tailgate lock, and figure out the solar controller. Lots of late nights as the countdown to our departure date gets closer and closer. We are days away from our road trip to Tampa, and there is still so much to do. So what do you think? Do we end up getting it all done in time? Do we hack some stuff together? And what's our road trip gonna be like? Well, you're gonna have to wait till the next episode, part 2, to find out. And don't forget to click the link in the description below, enter in your pictures to win this Jan fan, well, not mine, but one like it, a 12-inch one, just like this. And we will see you in our next video. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed. Bye. Oh, hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
You know, since this video is about your truck, I think that you have to do the honors of selecting the chicken footage for the end of this video. It's a big responsibility. It's a lot. Actually, what I really should do is I should have him film his own chicken footage. So this chicken footage brought to you by Brandon.